welcome to another exciting review of How to Make Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. And today we're going to be reviewing chapter 6 of part 2. Chapter 6 says how to make people like you instantly. Wow, this is going to be so interesting, right? How do you make people like you instantly? Have you ever met anybody and then for the first time of meeting this person, both of you connected immediately to the point that you both became long-term friends, right? Anyways, it is possible, to have that scenario. How do you make somebody like you instantly? Let's take this story of when Dale Carnegie was waiting in line to register a letter in the post office, somewhere in New York. And he noticed that the clerk appeared to be bored with the job. The job was like a routine. People would bring letter, he would stamp it, he would issue receipts and all of that. It was so monotonous, doing the same thing over and over. So there wasn't any excitement about the job and we just carry on like that. You can picture that scenario in your head, right? And so when it was almost his turn, having the consciousness of all the principles that we've been learning of how to make people interested in you and all of that. So he started thinking, what's nice thing can I say about this person, sincerely? And that can be difficult. What do you want to say about a stranger, somebody that you're just seeing? But then because he was intentional about it, he immediately found what to say. And he said to this man, while the man was weighing his envelope, he said, and he said, oh, I wish I had your head of hair. And this man immediately looked up, like he was kind of startled. And his face brightened up with a smile because that made him felt important. It made him felt, sorry, made him felt, that made him feel important. It made him feel recognized and appreciated. Like everybody's going here, everybody's coming here, they're just throwing letters at me. I'm just treating their letters, stamping it, receiving money, maybe issuing receipts and all of that. Nobody's said anything about my hair. So the author was sure that feeling, that simple compliment made this man feel better, and he would go home, tell his wife, he would feel very, very special and important. It can be as simple as that. Very simple. Even though the man felt that, this kind of remark, shouldn't have come because my hair is not even as good as it used to be. But Dale said to him, no, even though your hair is losing its pristine glory, I can still see that it is gorgeous, it is nice. That is how you make people connect with you. And for a while, they chatted, they talked, right? And this man cannot forget him in a hurry. So we really don't have to be selfish. Try to look for something in somebody that you can admire, that you can talk about. There is definitely something that you can talk about. If we are so selfish that we can radiate a little happiness and pass on a bit of appreciation, then we are going to be failures in life. Because somebody asked Dale Carnegie when he told this story that I just said, that, oh, what do you hope to gain by telling this man? What do you hope to get in return? And he said, well, I'm not hoping to get anything in return. But in another twist, I got something priceless in return, the smile on this person's face. So we can pass a sincere compliment without hoping to get anything in return. We can be kind to people without hoping to get anything in return. Right? There is one all-important law of human conduct. And if we obey this law, we shall almost never get into trouble. But if we disobey this law or ignore it, we would get into trouble. Right? And what is that law? It says always make the other person feel important. When we started treating 6 ways to make people like you, we read where John Dewey said that the desire to be important is the deepest urge in human nature. James also said that the deepest principle in human nature is the craving to be appreciated. Everybody wants to be appreciated. Everybody wants to feel important. Everybody wants to feel special. And philosophers, scientists, religious leaders, and so many people have tried to unravel this law for thousands of years. Right? They have speculated that what could be an important precept in life when it comes to human relationship. And they discovered, just like the Bible says, that you should do unto others as you would like them do unto you. That is the golden rule. If you crave importance, you want people to appreciate you, you want them to recognize you, other people crave the same. So that thing that you want to be done to you, that feeling of importance that you want people to make you have, that appreciation, then give it to others. Do unto others what you want them to do to you. If you ignore the simple but golden rule, you may not really enjoy your life, because you're going to be selfish. You want people to like you, to appreciate you, to praise you, but you don't want to do the same thing to others. It is not going to happen that way. Right. And there are so many stories, just like we have always read, about how you can, to buttress the points that the author is making. So many. And you don't have to wait until you're an ambassador to France or America or to Great Britain or whatever, or the chairman of the biggest company in the world before you use this philosophy of appreciation. You don't need to have all the money in the world. It is simple. But I guess that some of the most simple things in life are what we take for granted. But if we follow this principle, it can work like magic, like almost every day. For example, if you go to a restaurant and the waitress brings you boiled yam instead of fried yam, right? A simple courtesy, a simple statement, heartfelt statement that says, oh, I'm sorry to trouble you. I would prefer fried yam to this boiled yam. That statement, I'm sorry to trouble you, can change everything. Unlike when you say, I asked for fried yam, why are you bringing me boiled yam? Please, 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 please. That will infuriate the waitress. He or she may not show it, right? But it's like criticism. It puts the person on the defensive side, and they will not treat you wholeheartedly. They will not treat you with enthusiasm, right? Because you have bruised the person's ego, especially when you now shout, when other people can hear it. The person feels embarrassed. But you say, oh, I'm so sorry to trouble you. I think I'll prefer fried yam to boiled yam. The person would most likely say, oh, no, 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 no. You're not troubling me. When somebody sends me a text and they say, oh, I'm so sorry to bother you, that in itself, even though I may be under pressure, I'm tensed, I don't even feel like reading any text and all of that, that in itself will make me want to reply and say, oh, no, you're not bothering me at all. And then I'll answer the person's text. It makes a whole lot of difference, right? Or maybe you say, oh, won't you please, would you mind? Oh, thank you. Oh, what if you come over tonight? Something like that. Anytime I want to write an email, I'll use words like, oh, could you please, may I kindly ask that you do this? Such statements, such words go a long way in how the person will respond to you. It sounds very simple, but some people take it seriously. Every word that you have written, they will analyze it and they can sense the tone that, oh, this tone sounds rude, this tone sounds arrogant, or things like that. There's the story of a man here who would have died very poor. He would have left this earth unnoticed if not that he applied this principle. He was the son of a blacksmith and he loved poetry. And so he read the work of a popular poet, right, Rossetti. And he made a lecture about Rossetti, singing his praises, and he sent a copy of this lecture to Rossetti. And Rossetti, this popular poet, felt that, oh, the young man who had such an exalted opinion of him and his ability, his poetry ability, must be very brilliant. So he invited his blacksmith son to work for him as a secretary. This blacksmith son did not waste that opportunity. He was surrounded by people who inspired him, and he learned from them, and he used that wisdom to build a Mecca. If you know what a Mecca is a place that people, Muslims, would go to, like some of them go on pilgrimage there, as many times as they want. It is revered, it is beautiful, and when you get there, it increases your status, like, oh, you have been to Mecca. And many of them will come back with this golden tooth, right? So if you smile and somebody sees it, they know that, oh, this person has been to Mecca. You must be rich, you must be privileged, and all of that, right? So he built this place that it's like Mecca for tourists on the Isle of Man in the United Kingdom, and people will come there, and this made him a multi-millionaire in dollars, right? But if he had not written that lecture about the popular poet Rossetti, he would have died a poor man. He would have died as the son of an ordinary blacksmith. Look at how that simple yet important gesture brought him and his family out of poverty. Simple gestures like this go a long way, such as the stupendous power of sincere, heartfelt appreciation. Rossetti considered himself very important, but even though you consider yourself important, you still want other people to make mention of it. Even though you know that your hair is beautiful, right? You look in the mirror, you can see, you appreciate the work of God on yourself, but you still want other people to mention it. And some of us will say to our husbands, did you not notice my hair? Right? You want them to say it. If it comes from them, it hits differently. It takes you to another level of importance, self-importance, or something like that. If your partner does not notice the clothes that you're putting on, you draw their attention to, you don't even say anything about my dress. You know that the dress is fine, but you want them to mention it. That is the way people feel. And we have to be intentional about that. The life of many a person could probably be changed if only someone would make him feel important. They'll see themselves in a different light. There is a story here about a young boy of 14. He was a shy boy. His name was Chris. He lacked self-confidence. His self-esteem was low, and he would often keep to himself. But the teacher, Ronald J. Rowland, noticed something in him. Noticed that there is something in this boy that is special, and other people did not see that. So they didn't give this boy the recognition that he deserved. This Mr. Rowland had a special class, an advanced class, that people will feel privileged to attend. And one day he said to Chris, oh, would you come to my class? He invited him to this advanced class. And Chris looked at Mr. Rowland's face like, who? Me? Am I good enough? And Mr. Rowland said, yes, Chris, you are good enough. Chris said this with tears almost coming out of his eyes. And Mr. Rowland was also moved to tears, like, oh my God, I have touched something great in this boy, right? So he had to leave at that point before the tears came rolling down, right? He had to leave. And he said that Chris felt so important. He looked at him with bright blue eyes and said in a positive voice, thank you, Mr. Rowland. Like, I never believed that anybody would believe in me this much. So Chris taught him a very unforgettable lesson, according to Mr. Rowland, that our desire to feel important is very, very profound. It is not something that we can push aside, right? And that he would never forget it. So this made him to come up with this statement, you are important, as in a sign. And he put it in front of the class for everybody to see, and for you to remind every student that you are important, right? As I am important, you are equally important. It doesn't matter whether you're shy or you don't believe in yourself, you are important. He put that sign in front of the class. That is the truth. Most people want to feel superior in some way. Everybody that you meet, they want to feel superior. They want to feel that, oh, they have something better than you and all of that. Let them have it. Let them have that feeling. In fact, help them to magnify that feeling. And they will never forget you in a hurry. They will want to be friends with you because they will see that you are not in competition with them. You are not trying to rub shoulders with them, right? Somebody wants to feel important. Let them have it. Let them have it. Let them have that feeling of importance. Right. That's why people will want to blow their own trumpets. Like, do you know who I am? Don't talk to me that way. So before it gets to that level, tell them that you know who they are. Oh, they're so important. And this person will calm down, right? But we shouldn't go around rubbing it in people's faces. Oh, do you know who I am? Do you know who I am? It just shows that you are probably not anything. And this can work in business. It can work a lot in business. There is a story about an old woman who gave out a Packard car that her late husband bought for her. She had never used this car, but he gave it out to this man because this man came into into her home, and then began to talk about the home. The moment this man entered, he wanted to prove the principle. So he genuinely looked round for what he could sincerely appreciate about this woman's house and said, oh, this house must have been built in 1890. It is so beautiful. It is so roomy. That sparked something in this woman. And it gave her an opportunity to talk about the house, how she and her husband had designed the house, without any architect, how they used to love it, and all the beautiful things in the house, the shows, the mugs, and everything. This man appreciated them. And this was what this woman wanted to hear. And she started talking about how she had bought them from Europe, how she had, and everything. She had been lonely in that house. She just wanted the warmth of somebody. And it gave her the opportunity to talk about everything. And took this man to the garage, opened the car, which was in a mint condition, new. She had never driven it. Her husband bought it for her. And shortly after that, he passed on. So this man did not want to receive it. He said, oh, I can't take that gift from you. Why don't you sell it? And I said, no, sell this car that my husband gave to me. I said, okay, why don't you give it to any of your relatives? I can't receive it. I said, no, I'm never going to give it to them. People that are waiting for me to die so that they can inherit this and all the beautiful things that we all know. You're going to hurt my feelings if you don't take this car. That was how that man got the gift of this beautiful car. Right. There's also another one that got a puppy, a beautiful puppy for his son, just because he was genuinely interested in somebody. But then, the one that I'm going to end with is this story, the story of Mr. Adamson. He had been looking to get a contract from the man. If you are familiar with photography, you know Kodak. Kodak film and all of that. George Eastman was the founder. He was a rich man. And there was this man, who had been looking to get contracts from him, and he did not know how he would get this contract, or rather access to Mr. Eastman was very difficult. So his name was Mr. Adamson, and he went through the architect, and the architect said to him, see, now you have access to Mr. Adamson, but he doesn't like long talk. Whatever you want to say it in 5 minutes, right? And be out of there. But when this man got in, because he got in intentionally with his strategy, he knew about this principle, he started looking around and he looked for something to appreciate about this man's office. Started talking about this man, focusing on the interests of Mr. Eastman, the founder of Kodak Film. Right, looked around his office. I've never seen any office as beautiful as this. That got this man interested. Yesterday we talked about talking in terms of the other person's interests. Forget about yourself for a second. Right, he started talking about it. And the man that they said, oh, don't spend more than 5 minutes. They were there for like 2 to 3 hours talking. Mr. Eastman eventually invited him over to his house. They went for lunch together. And for so many years, they became close friends. They were close friends for so many years. And on top of that, he still got the contract. Right. This principle is very powerful. And I want every one of us to be intentional about it. Start small. When you come across somebody tomorrow, give a sincere compliment. Oh, I was about saying I like the shape of your nose. Maybe not that, right? Oh, your jacket is so beautiful. It's the most beautiful jacket I've seen in a long time. Wow. Oh, you have flair for pretty things. I've always noticed that you're always so neat and organized and all of that. Just look for something to say. There is always something good to say about people, no matter how bad it can be. And there was a woman that was about to lose the most important person in our restaurant. This woman wanted to resign, and she quickly made use of this principle to get that resignation cancelled, to win that woman back to our restaurant, because she was very, very instrumental to the success of our restaurant, right? Brought this woman, praised her openly in the presence of all the other staff members, took her home, said nice things about her in the presence of her family members, and this man rescinded her decision to resign. Praise people genuinely, make them feel important. Right, talk to people about themselves, said Disraeli, one of the shrewdest men who ever ruled the British Empire. Talk to people about themselves, and they will listen for hours. So don't forget principle 6. Make the other person feel important, and do it sincerely. Thank you so much for joining me on tonight's review. Thank you so much for all your comments, your chats, and all the likes. In case you have not liked this video, don't forget to like it, share your comment with me, and please subscribe to this channel in case you are yet to subscribe. I remain Olaide Agbaje, also known as First Lady, and on this channel, I inspire you to live intentionally. We'll meet tomorrow as we begin part 3, how to win people to your way of thinking. Until then, be intentional. Bye-bye. All right, everybody. Okay, bye. Welcome, Moji.